Look, there's so many things I want to ask you. There's such excitement about today, but you have been in a place, in a position that so few have. We know the risks that are associated with a launch. We know the risks that are associated with space travel. What's going on in Jeremy Hansen's head right now?
Well, he's very focused on the mission. You're absolutely right. There are still risks associated with spaceflight, especially with a relatively new rocket, as we're going to be using a little bit later today. But he's focused on his task that he'll need to perform on the ascent today, because doing those perfectly will minimize the risks. You know, for all of us who chose this profession as astronaut, the risks of injury and death, they're small, but they don't compare to the benefits, the personal and professional benefits of representing your country in space, of fulfilling a childhood dream, of working in an international setting on audacious social achievements. So for us, the benefits greatly outweigh the risks.
When we look at this mission, it is only 10 days. That I say only because that was Jeremy Hansen's words. He said this is quite a short mission for the average person. That's a long time to be in space. For you, though, to remind our viewers, you were the first Canadian to fly a long-duration expedition aboard the ISS. When you think about how much time they have to conduct the tests and the experiments that they need to conduct up there, what will that look like? Is that wall-to-wall work? Will there be much rest in between?
No, it'll be go, go, go. I guess the best metaphor, sport metaphor to use would be Tour de France, which means that you get up every day, then you just go hard, hard, hard. A marathon is the wrong metaphor, but a Tour de France would well describe what Jeremy and his crewmates' life is going to be like over the next 10 days. But also Marianne, like he's 10 days, but he's going to the moon. You know, no human being has been there for 50 years. He's going to see some things that no one has ever seen before. The dark side of the backside of the moon, and then the view of the distance of seeing Earth and the moon together in the same frame. That's going to be worth the 10 days. And
Bob, I mean, as you say, first time in 53 years that something like that has happened. But they, of course, are going beyond the moon. They're going further than anyone, not just Canadians, anyone has ever gone before. What does it say that Canada has an astronaut on this NASA mission that is so critical and history-making?
Well, you know, what's going on in the geopolitical world these days. There's a lot of nasty rhetoric and chaos. As an astronaut, everything that I've done in my career, everything has been based on collaboration. Collaboration across disciplines, across cultures, across national boundaries. And we need to tell the world, Canada needs to be part of the messaging that collaboration and working with countries on aligned objectives is so very, very important if we're going to get through these next 5 or 10 years. So I'm proud that Jeremy is part of that. He's the perfect person to be doing that. Jeremy is all about collaboration and about excellence. It's just a privilege for us an honor for Canada to be part of this mission.
It is hard to imagine how one would process the magnitude of this mission, the history that will be made here with this mission. But it also sets up the future missions, Artemis 3 and 4. Why is that important for future space exploration?
Well, we're returning to the moon after 50 plus years. That's important. There's good scientific reasons for us to return to the moon. But most important is, I think that Mars is actually the ultimate destination. Mars is an astronaut's dream. So we will go to Mars in these series of missions that you just mentioned in order to hone our skills, the astronauts' skills that are needed to do interplanetary flight, but also to validate a lot of the new technologies, the operational, the technical, the medical technologies that we need to go on to the ultimate destination, Mars, in the next 15 or 20 years. So that's why the series of moon missions is important, you know, for some intrinsic good science that we wish to do there, but also to prepare us for even more audacious voyages.
Bob, one last question for you, and I'm going to put you on the spot. We are going to see at around 2 o'clock Eastern this afternoon, we're going to see Jeremy Hansen walk out. It's the first time we're going to see him today. He's going to head towards that, as you say, asset, towards that space vehicle, towards Artemis. Give me 3 words, if you can. What's in his mind as he's walking there, as someone who's walked those steps before?
Honor, pride, and challenge.
That says it. Bob Thirsk, you have a front row to history there at Cape Canaveral today. Have a fantastic day. Let's hope everything goes off today and goes off smoothly.
Thank you.
That is Robert Thirsk.